Hi everyone, welcome. If this is your first live video inside of Queer Alchemy, I'm so grateful that you're here. You joined the group during a transition in my life and business where I've gone from trying to be coachy to literally being myself. And I want to talk about that in light of the 8/8 portal that happens tomorrow or today, depending on where you live in the world, and what the portal to me is and isn't. Um, when we give significance to something, it is significant. Okay? Where our thoughts go, where our energy flows, all of those things, the law of attraction is true as far as what you focus on is what you get, right? We can recognize that when we're stuck in stinking thinking, when our brain is hardwired to only see the things that we don't desire to see in our life versus the opportunities that are there. I have learned that the power of manifestation isn't wishful thinking. It isn't sitting and waiting like a toad. It isn't, if I do A plus B plus C, I will get everything that I want if I like learn this system. I've spent the last 5 years devouring high earning folks' content, people with big impact, their content, people who have mastered their craft, their content. And the thing that I have come to learn that is radically transformative that I want to give you going into tomorrow. Tomorrow will only be a portal for possibility and transformation if you decide that it is. If you decide that tomorrow gets to be a gateway to your new life, it will be. If you decide that today gets to be a gateway to your new life, it will be. Um, the universe doesn't care about the specific date on the calendar. The likelihood of the cosmos being aligned every year on August 8th to be this magical, energetic gateway that we all walk through and have like blah, blah, blah. The calendar that we operate on in this current timeline is made up, it's man made. So that means that if we're getting all of our significance from a date on the calendar, we're the ones imparting that power onto that date. So I would like you, as in everything in Queer Alchemy, in my world, in my life, I would like you to take radical responsibility and radical ownership over what happens going through this gateway. Okay? I'm not going to say that it's not there. I'm not going to say that it is there. That is not the point of this little nugget. And I think the way for me to connect it in a much more concrete way, I posted on Instagram a reel of me. This time last year, I made some epic video and photo content when I was super insecure. Like, I had flown to Calgary on credit that I had on WestJet to work with Westeros Media, Steph, who is like amazing. She's going to be doing mine and Olivia's photos while we're in Montreal. But she taught me how to take professional level photos when I don't have the money or the capability to hire a full-time like branding photographer, right? So I went there and I was not confident. I was insecure. I didn't know how to angle the camera in a way that made me feel beautiful, strong, and confident in my body. And so, what we did was we set up a tripod and I just danced in front of it and I pulled images from the video of me being myself. So instead of performing a version of myself that I thought people would trust and buy things from, I was actually myself. And those are the images that sold. Those are the images that had me making my first repeat clients. I have a client who I'm working with next week who I've been working with for over a year now. And it's because I stepped into owning my authenticity and my power in a way that wasn't fake. And so like we talk about authenticity and acceptance of self as the way, the method to like a fulfilling life, to joy, to happiness, to possibility, to wonder, to excitement, to all of those things. But being authentic isn't spewing my dirty laundry, my unedited thoughts, my toxic ideology, my trigger points all over the internet. That is not authenticity. That is trauma dumping. And I made that mistake. I lived there for a while, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that I did that. It just is what it is. It's where I was at the time. It was part of the journey. Real, honest authenticity comes from a place of sitting with yourself, with the feelings, emotions, thoughts, desires, and experiences that you have trepidation or resistance towards looking at, giving them love and acceptance, and moving from that point of power. So for me, I've been struggling with the fact that I gained back all of the weight that I spent 2 years losing because I spent 1 year focusing on my mental health and my energetic health instead of my physical health. I'm autistic, so for me to do all of those things at once, I wasn't able to also run my business and also have meaningful relationships. So I had to play with those boundaries. And I've witnessed and recognized what works for me and what doesn't. When was the last time you allowed yourself permission to take stock of the things that have become autopilot in your life and ask if they're really serving you? What if the Lionsgate portal for you doesn't have to be the gateway to abundance where money rain falls from the sky and you're magically a millionaire and you can do everything that you want, and you can order like the bougie sandwich and you can wear the Gucci and you can travel around the world? What if the portal of abundance for you is unending love, unending acceptance, strong boundaries? What if the portal of possibility for you in this season is stepping into your power without power, meaning someone else has to give something up? Renegotiating your relationship with authority, renegotiating your relationship with hierarchical structures, realizing that everything that's going on the internet right now with the outrage culture, with the Olympics, with racism, with the political unrest in the whole world is actually rooted in a wounded humanity where we have lost sight of the value of a human just because they breathe, where we have lost sight of what love, acceptance, and resilience truly are, where we have bought into this scarcity of resources universally. So that the capitalism, ableism, the rise in the alt-right in wealthier countries, all of these things point to an imbalance where confidence and power and all of those things have been confused, right? So we see someone who's arrogant, we see someone who has political prowess, we see someone with a lot of money, we see someone who's maybe like abrasive, and they're successful. And we think that they're successful because of all of those other categories. What they're actually successful is because they own who they are and run with it, for better or worse. What's keeping us stuck is we're afraid of who we are. We're afraid to go inward. We're afraid to admit the things that we're ashamed about. We're afraid to admit the things that we love, that we care about, that turn us on, that turn us off. We're afraid to speak out When someone says something that triggers us, we're afraid to take a pause. We're afraid to not comment on something because we think we should. What if I don't comment on this post about um that's this viral post that's this week, right? Whatever it is, the flavor of the week. What if I don't post about this controversial topic and then all of my friends from that marginalized group now think that I don't love them and support them? I guarantee that if you own who you are, lean into your values, and accept yourself wholeheartedly as you are in this moment, and then in the next moment, and then in the next moment, your capacity for compassion for other people will grow. Your tolerance for ridiculousness will fly out the window. You will stop managing other people's emotions. You will stop managing other people's life. Hands up if you were really clear about something in the last 2 weeks and someone made it like a problem. This happens to me all the time. I will be very clear. So, yesterday, I asked my beautiful, loving wife, this is not a shade. This is just like, this is communication in a nutshell, in a way without all the politicalness. I was making food and we're getting ready to boil some potatoes for meal prep. And I was like, Olivia, can you go outside and cut me a sprig of rosemary? I want it for the potatoes. And I handed her the scissors and she said, yep. And she came back in with oregano. And not only do they not look the same, they don't sound the same. And I was like, this isn't what I asked for. I asked for rosemary, did you? I'm like, yep. Did you just take the scissors and go outside and cut something green? I'm like, I'm not making you wrong for it. I want to know your thought process so that I can communicate more effectively. Can you please go and get me some rosemary? Now, the reason Olivia's job is to go and cut the herbs from the garden is because I'm allergic to bees and wasps and all things bitey and stingy. So for me, going to harvest herbs, peak sun outside, is dangerous. So she needs to do it for me. But like 3 times this week, I have very clearly, very specifically asked for something and gotten the complete opposite of the thing that I asked for. And past me would have made it about me, would have made like, you don't care about me, you're not listening to me, I wasn't clear, can you tell me how to be clearer? And the new me is like, no, I know exactly what I said, I know exactly what I asked for whatever reason they were unable to receive it, so I need to ask a question to understand what happened. When I ask a question of my beautiful, amazing wife, something happens. And maybe this is you. Maybe this is where you're at in your journey. Something happens and she feels attacked. So she brought me the rosemary or brought me the oregano and I said, this isn't what I asked for. And I could feel her body tense up. I could feel her whole energy change. I was like, I'm not mad at you. Do you believe me? Do you believe that I'm not mad at you right now? Okay, good, cool. I asked for rosemary. Did you hear that? No. Okay. So how can I talk to you in a way that I know you've heard me? So that this doesn't happen again because we both feel silly right now and it's awkward and like it doesn't have to be a problem unless I make it a problem. What would have happened last week when the transphobes went nuts and they went off on the internet? What would have happened last week if a single reporter would have concept checked a hot quote that they used to ruin someone's life? What would have changed? Would have been completely different, right? So that's why I want you to ask questions of yourself to understand why you're triggered. You're not going to find anything that you don't already know. You're not going to unlock any feelings that you haven't already felt. Everything that is within you, you already know and have experienced. It's not new. It's not scary. The scary part is running on autopilot and potentially harming yourself and a bunch of others. Okay. So when we're walking into this 8-8 Lionsgate portal, that depending on where you live in the world is happening either in a couple of hours or tomorrow, I want you to be open to the idea of using it as a vortex to go inward and find and discover your own secret power. My secret power is not confidence. I'm not confident. Everyone tries to ascribe confidence to me because they think that the way that I show up in life, in daily life, even talking to you on the internet right now, they think that that is what confident people do. I am very insecure. I get scared very easy. I have a documented anxiety disorder. I have physical responses to anxiety in situations that most folks are not anxious about. And it takes a lot out of me. But what I am is accepted. I love every part of me. I love the part of me that's very tender and sensitive because without being tender and sensitive, I wouldn't have empathy. I love the part of me that gets triggered easily because that part of me is connected to my strong sense of justice, my strong sense of equity, my desire for everyone that I come into contact with to know how incredibly amazing they are simply because they breathe. Most of the work that I do with my clients isn't around behavior. It isn't around mindset work. It's around believing that they are not broken, that there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing bad about you. You are not morally bankrupt because you're different. Because the entire world is shifting from a dogmatic structure to a consciousness structure. That means that right now, all of the systems that we have been raised in for generations and generations and generations are falling apart, and we're watching it happen before our eyes, and we can get caught up in the falling apartness, or we can use this pathway to possibility to become an embodiment of the new age. And when I talk about the new age, I'm not trying to be all like hyper spiritual, removing our agency from it, but you have an invitation where you can continue to point fingers, you can continue to be offended, you can continue to choose every single thing that doesn't align with your values as a judgment about who you are, or beautiful, or some of us can be flowers, and some of us can be trees, and some of us can be rocks, and some of us can be oranges, and some of us can be cats, and some of us can be rivers. There is not something wrong with you because you're different. There is not something wrong with you because you feel differently, because you see differently, because you speak differently, because you walk differently, because you love differently. There is nothing wrong with you. And the pathway to confidence is through self acceptance only. You cannot be truly self owned if you are ashamed of who you are, if you are ashamed of how you are, if you are ashamed of what made you you, if you have shame, guilt, if you hide parts of who you are from yourself, if you do something and you're like, oh, why do I always do this? If your knee jerk reaction is self depreciation, blame, shaming, and anger towards yourself, your job on this lifetime is to love yourself. What if the next time you're disappointed in you, you take a minute And put your hands on your heart. Take a breath. That was hard. That upset me. I'm allowed to be upset. I'm upset because if I were to do this over, I would respond exactly the same way because there's nothing wrong with me. This response reveals an area in my heart that needs attention. I love you. I accept you. I approve of you. You're doing a good job. Do you know how many times I had to do that exercise until I believed it? A lot of times. So I love you. You are accepted. You are loved. I approve of you. There's nothing wrong with you. You can do this. Bye for now.